President Trump has interjected himself back into the health care debate on Capitol Hill. Meanwhile, Senate Republicans and Senate staffers are busy at work on a brand new bill, which would then be conferenced with the House bill. Now, President Trump's intervention was to say we need to put more dollars into health care and make it the best in the world. Now, this is a curious time for President Trump to make that suggestion, given that we are many months into this process. And rather than putting more dollars into health care, the Trump plan actually takes dollars out of health care and gives them to the top 1% in terms of tax breaks. Particularly, it takes the money out of Medicaid. So it takes it from the poorest and neediest and many working and middle-class people who are currently on Medicaid, takes their health care away, creates 20 million more uninsured, and moves that money up to the top in the form of massive tax cuts on income and investments. So Donald Trump is saying, let's do the precise opposite of what my plan does. Separately, he said the Senate needs to move to 51 votes, get rid of this thing called the filibuster. He has suggested this in the past, and Mitch McConnell has immediately shot it down because Mitch McConnell does not have the votes in order to get rid of the filibuster. Trump may or may not know that. What I think Trump is trying to do here is to blame the Senate and its rules for what he suspects may be a failure in the future. In other words, the Senate plan comes back, it still leaves 20 plus million uninsured, it's a massive tax cut for the rich, and enough Republican senators, you only need 3 to break, won't go along with it, and it fails. Trump always needs a scapegoat. It can't be him. His scapegoat in this case would be the 60 vote threshold in the Senate, or Senate Democrats for not going along with his plan. That then leads him to be able to tell his supporters, the problem wasn't me, the problem was Senate rules, so we need to put pressure on the Senate to change its rules, and we need to elect more Republicans who support Trump in the 2018 election so that we can get my plan through. But we should not rule out the possibility that enough craven Republicans would be able to get together and push some type of legislation through it. The resistance to it is strong, but it should not be ruled out. So if there are any questions, we can take them briefly.
There's a really long one about the budget, just all the cruelty, the things that are being cut, and at the same time adding a lot of military spending.
So first of all, on the budget, this is a document that Mick Mulvaney, the budget director, has put together. It more reflects Mick Mulvaney's priorities than anything else. It is not law, and it is very unlikely to become law, and here is why. The last time that Trump fought Congress over a budget, over spending priorities, he caved on almost everything because Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. And so if the government shuts down, they are 100% responsible in the eyes of the public for that shutdown. Donald Trump can't afford the political hit of a shutdown blamed on Republicans. What level of incompetence does that imply if you control all levers of government and it still shuts down? And so he demanded a wall. He demanded this, that, and the other thing. He got none of it. The Republicans in the Congress were demanding shutting down Planned Parenthood and all the things that they normally demand. They got none of it. The only thing Republicans got was a line in there that said that no federal funding can go towards ACORN. As you may know, ACORN has not existed for many years. So that is a reasonable thing that Democrats say, you know what, fine, go ahead. We will ban funding to ACORN, which does not exist. And so the next time that this is coming around will be the end of September, which is just less than a year away from midterm elections. Donald Trump has previously said, we should have shut down the government last time. That's how we should have gotten a better deal, because he hates being made fun of for cutting bad deals. Everybody around him, though, tells you cannot shut the government down. If he does shut the government down, let's say he goes for it, he ignores all the advice around him, he will suffer so much political pain that in order to reopen the government, he will have to cave on everything that he has wanted. So he's either going to cave up front or he's going to cave separately. So the budget document is clarifying in a moral sense so that you can know what a Mick Mulvaney or what a Donald Trump would do if they had unfettered power. So it is interesting in that respect. It is not a roadmap for how the government is going to be run.
Really quickly, why make it so draconian if it's not going to get through anyway, and then the Democrats can use it against him?
Well, Mick Mulvaney is a hardcore ideologue. He's a South Carolina congressman. His seat is actually vacant right now, and there's a special election to fill it on June 20th, and a new poll has that race within like 10 points, which is shocking for South Carolina. So he's a government ideologue. I don't want to say he's a nihilist, but he is a very committed small government conservative, and it has been his dream to cut government as much as possible. And if you're the OMB director and you have this opportunity, you're going to take it. You're going to put your fantasy government down on paper. That is as close as you're going to get. He probably also believes, and perhaps rightly, that when you're negotiating, you start with your absolute dream world, and then you negotiate it away. Democrats don't do that. Democrats kind of start in the middle or in the center right, and then are surprised when the negotiation winds up so far away from their favor. So perhaps that's part of his thinking. Also, this is a very divided country, and this is a base document. This is something that Trump can take to his supporters and say, look, we cut all of this wasteful spending. We took on Democrats. Now, when you get into the details of it, it turns out that it would be more his people than anybody else that would suffer from this budget. But because it will never, as far as we can tell, be implemented, they're not going to suffer actual pain. They would just suffer theoretical pain.